morning.
Thank you for giving me some time. What I'd like to bring to you today is just a proposal, because I know that you guys have to okay anything that goes down to the fairgrounds, like the amusement authority. One thing that is needed, that what we would like to have down there, is a storage facility. Right now, the airplanes, the kiddie cars are being stored in the merry-go-round, so they have to be put up on edge, taken around and placed in there. Then when inspections occur, they have to take all of those out so that the inspector can get in and look at all that stuff. Then they put the planes back in, and then they take them back out, of course, for the fair. This is an estimate that I got from Brock McAtee, and it just gives us kind of an idea of what we're looking at. No tax dollars would be spent on this. This would be done with donations and also through the foundation. This is a strategic doing project that the foundation is on board for. But as you can see, it's a 30 by 40 by 12 foot. It's a wood frame and metal clad. That way the hail won't be a problem. There won't be any windows and there won't be any skylights. There's no need of having any of that because you got more possibility of damage and all. The 10-foot overhead door, and that'll be insulated for the strength value of it, and of course it'll have the cement floor. The wood frame, we like to go that way because then we can build a loft in it. Right now, over in the prize area, that's where all the benches are stacked. That's where the riding mowers are going, the weed eaters. All the extra prizes are put up overhead. There's a little office in there, so they have to get kids in there to get up a ladder and hand those things down. Well, if a loft was built in this proposed storage shed, then all of those things can go in there. And it'll be a lot easier. When you start stacking things on one another, there ends up being damage and things, because all those benches that you see down there are being stacked in that shed.
Is 12 feet high enough to put a loft in?
We're figuring that it would be, yes. Yeah. It doesn't have to be anything huge, just enough to put some boxes and things like that up. It's not going to be, a massive thing, but...
Okay.
Where do you propose to put this building?
Okay, where the Ferris wheel sets, and then to the north of that is the little kiddie cars. Right behind that, we laid it out once just to see what size of building would go in there. So it would set back in there.
So it's just north of the train tracks?
Basically, yes. Yeah. I would say more north and a little bit east of the Ferris wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, right in that area. So it will not take away from any of the parking. There'll still be parking for the handicapped folks that need to come up closer to get in.
How close to that fence does it get?
It would probably be 8-10 foot away at least.
You'll have to check that, but I think that's an ambulance. The ambulance have to be able to go through there, if I'm not mistaken.
You mean the fence going around the racetrack deal?
Yeah, on the outside.
Oh, it'll be a long way south of that.
South of the fence.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if
Yeah,
the ambulance is going to have to be able to come in and get down there.
You bet. Yeah, there'll be plenty of room. That road will still be easy accessible and all. It wouldn't. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Yep. So anyway, this is just a proposal, but I talked to Terry to ask him what I should do, and he said, well, we have to kind of okay this going on, plus there's probably not taxes, but insurance or something that I don't know that part of it, so that's,
Since it would be on county ground, that makes it our building, our responsibility, even though it's paid for by somebody else.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
That's the question I have. Who's going to own the building?
Yeah.
Is CCAA going to own the building?
well, I just assumed that if it's on your property, it would be yours. I mean, if the CCAA would happen to close, that building would be yours.
I know out at the Thresher Grounds in Bird City, they have like a lease, a 100-year lease or something like that.
Okay,
But see, that's the thing. First off, we have to figure out the ownership of the building.
okay,
And then once the ownership is figured out, then it can be determined, like if CCAA is going to go ahead and retain ownership of that building, then yes, we need to do a lease agreement. But then CCAA is going to be responsible for all maintenance, insurance, et cetera,
okay.
for that building. But I don't know, if you go ahead and build it with the intention of the county assuming responsibility, then there's going to have to be some sort of transfer, and I don't know with your grants and such that can be done. So we need to make sure what the grants are saying in regards to the ownership, so that they can be built.
Does it really have to be insured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
If you're gonna have individuals in there. Yes.
Well, yeah, it would be primarily for storage, but, if you got a tornado that come through or things like that.
Or if somebody was injured on the inside, trying to remove a ride or part of a ride or a piece of a ride, now it's who's responsible?
Okay, yeah,
Who holds the liability into this stick?
right, okay, all right.
Well, there's gotta be some, the CCAA owns half of that one building. Where they have their office and stuff. They paid for half of that building.
Oh, where they're storing
Yes.
the benches and stuff
Yes,
there
they
now.
paid- They paid for half of that.
Okay,
So there's gotta be some kind of arrangement already in
Your dad was
place.
president of the board when we built that. And the fair board built half of it for the food stands, and CCAA built the other half. They paid for it, and I don't know where the paperwork is,
okay, well, I'll ask,
but I do know that.
Walls.
They paid for part of that.
okay.
Either that or Linda Elfers, she might be able to,
Lin-
Linda Elfers, might be
Okay.
able- extension office might be able to shed some light on it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just wanted you to see what we would like to do.
Well, I think, Tom, and I hope I speak for Roger and Willie, we're not opposed to this. It's a needed addition to the fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the technicalities, the little
Okay,
who owns what and how
All
we're
right.
going to insure it and how we're going to pay for it. Of course, is going to be the biggest question that we'll get, who's paying for it.
well, my hope would be through private donations and the foundations. The two foundations that we have working, I'm on both of those boards.
But you haven't actively sought out funding yet from those.
Not until I get things done in order,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Well, I was on the fair board when we started all that. And I don't know if the fair board leased the ground where the rides set. I have no idea.
That I was sitting here thinking about that too. I mean, how does that all work with the rides and such? Because they aren't fixtures, so to speak, because they can be removed. All of the rides and such. But a building is a different story.
We'll just have to do some more research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a building could still be moved, just like a ride. I mean, you'll have a cement slab sitting there, but buildings can be moved. If push come to, if that ever had to
You
be.
got a cement slab up there, use it.
It's going out the farm if we,
No, there's a cement slab up there.
oh, there is, but that's where we dance.
Well, we used to.
We used to, yeah, okay. All righty. Well, I think I've kind of,
As soon as you get a kind of a clearer picture of the totality of the whole thing.
Okay.
I invite you to come back and, share your information, what you find out, and Leslie will look into our side of it. And,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go from there.
all right. But you're not, you wouldn't be, as long as some of these things fall into line, you folks are fine with getting a storage
I
structure
think
down.
you said that exactly right.
Okay, that sounds great. Before I leave, one thing I might bring up, I visited with Mr. Reiger once at his home, and after your meeting is over today, I would invite all of you to drive the first 2 miles on Road 15. I do
Not very fast.
every day, and it's tough on pickups. I tried to pull a trailer to town the other day, and it was absolutely miserable. You can't hardly go fast enough, and you can't hardly go slow enough. So I don't know. I know several of us guys out that way have rippers that we could bring in, but I know you're trying, but
The
it's.
last meeting Dave was in, said that we're gonna be renting one of those.
Kind of scarifiers or something,
Well, we're
or,
gonna-
It was in the
Like
minutes.
It's almost
rototillers.
a rototiller deal
Okay.
like we did before. And he hadn't, I don't think he's coming in today.
No.
But the problem with it is as soon as they do something like that, within 2 weeks, it's back to where it was.
It was kind of an experiment gone
yes, yeah.
south on us. And
Well, anyway, it's, just so you know, one of us that lives out on that road would like to see it a little smoother. Thank you very much for
All
your
right,
time. I
thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
It's all good to them.
Good morning, Candy.
Good morning.
Come on up.
Thanks. Okay.
Are you supposed to be shaking hands?
Am I shaking hands?
Are you supposed to be shaking hands?
Oh, good golly. Yes. What am I? Yeah.
they're
fist bump.
recommending
No,
fist
I'm
bump.
not supposed to be like within 6 feet of people.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure what
It's
the.
just a wave now.
It's a wave. Okay. I'm not quite up to the current because
either.
I'm like, oh wait, it's gone. Do you want one? You sure?
I'll keep one if you have.
Okay. So I just wanted to tell you guys, you guys pay a certain amount, maybe $500 to the RC&D, and I apologize because I don't know what it stands for, but we're part of an 8-county food alliance, and so we're just working on local food access and also small business development with the farmers markets and different things like that. And so they just encouraged us to come to our commissioners and report on what we've done to encourage you to keep supporting the RC&D. So in our county, what we've done is we started the farmers market last year in order to promote local producers to be able to sell local, so we have better food access because that's a social determinant of health. If you don't have good food access, your health is worse. So, and then now we just started the Simply Produce program, which is 15 pounds of produce for $15 every 2 weeks. And we're having about 120 baskets like going out every 2 weeks from Bird City. Yeah. So we
RC&D, we committed $500 last year.
Yeah, that's what it is. And so they just asked us to come and tell you what we're doing and why it's important to continue to support it. For us, with the work that I've done with the low-income families, one of their issues, it's mental health and it's food access. They can't afford the produce. It's not good at the grocery stores. So initially we started working with the grocery stores, and this is where we've evolved to. But we meet 8 counties. Actually, we're 9 now, and we just talk about the regional, what's going on with food, and how do we get more local producers, or how do we get, what are the barriers to getting the food to the people that need it. So I just wanted to give you a report, on what's going on.
Well, it's important to us, and it's important to the community, so I'm sure you have our full support there.
I know. I just wanted to, I think it's good to tell you. So, do you have any questions on the mental health stuff and what we're doing, or? I have no solution for the deficit. We thought we were going to be able, I have a matching grant, and we thought maybe we could leverage some funds to get a match, and we can't. So I'm not exactly sure. We have a new LMFT license, like Meredith Aronson, moving back in May, the end of May, to Bird City. So right now we're working on how do we get a office space for her. Right now she's going to continue her practice from Seattle and do it remotely, so she'll have to do it somewhere where there's internet. But for me, that's really encouraging because that allows Meredith just some grace. She's only part-time, and how do you see, at least it's starting to get another provider into the community. But there's a ton of work to go, and that doesn't address the High Plains. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a letter from High Plains this morning, and they're requesting $16,109. And I think last year we committed $8,063.50.
So is this for 2020 then?
It'd actually be for 2021.
Oh, they're requesting for the future. And I still have to do that work on figuring out where this money comes from, because it's important to have them as the hub. Like, we need them. We need them for emergency consults. We need them for that background of uninsured, underinsured. But where do we come up with the funds? And we need it. I'm not sure yet.
So the critical piece of this was when the hospital lost their funding through a grant, so they're not able to seek out any more funding?
The thing is, it's not sustainable. That's the problem. Because I could apply to, our local foundations and say, hey, we need $10,000. How do we get that again next year?
Yeah.
And how do we get that again next
Yeah.
year? So that's the issue that we're looking at. And from my understanding, it was always the $6,000 or whatever the county had allotted.
Right.
And then it changed to when they started coming and